Saudi Arabia is to host the men's 2034 World Cup after being named as the only bidder for the competition. According to FIFA President Gianni Infantino on Tuesday, Saudi Arabia was the only interested party after Australia pulled out ahead of the FIFA deadline on the same day.
In the heart of the Middle East, a nation is reshaping the future of sports and its global culture. Welcome to Saudi Arabia in the year 2030. A land where vision, ambition and football have united in an unprecedented era of transformation.
I mean, Sefrin's also been talking, Danny, about players who head to Saudi Arabia to grow the game. And of course, Jordan Henderson fell into that category. He's gone out there to try and do his bit for the Saudi Pro League, had a look, and then further down the line, a lot sooner than anyone expected, said thanks but no thanks and came back. Now he's at Ajax. Sefrin says regards players heading to Saudi Arabia to, quote, grow the game. They go because the contracts are big. You can't blame them for that. He says if they're close to the end of their career, maybe it's a new adventure and they earn a lot of money. I don't blame them, but to say that you're going somewhere to help or grow the game is pretty much more or less a joke.
I think he's not wrong, is he? He's only saying what everyone else thinks.
So why has Saudi Arabia got such a bad reputation? Saudi Arabia's negative reputation internationally can be attributed to a combination of different factors, including his political system, his human rights issues, and his country approach to social freedoms. The negative reputation of Saudi Arabia comes from a combination of sources, including international media coverage, human rights organisations, governments, and public perceptions of historical and ongoing events. Major Western media news outlets such as the New York Times, CNN, and BBC have been instrumental in shaping the public perception of Saudi Arabia. However, why do all these negative terms spring to mind when Saudi Arabia and sport is mentioned? One major buzzword that is always mentioned when Saudi Arabia and sports is mentioned: sports washing.
Spending a ton on sports, a lot of money, big names that people are very familiar with, big teams, big facilities. What do you say to the people who charge that that's part of sports washing, that you're trying to use all of that to somehow improve or somehow affect your image in the world?
Well, if it's sport washing going to increase my GDP by 1%, then I will continue doing sport washing.
You're okay with that term?
I don't care. I have 1% growth of GDP from sport, and I'm aiming for another 1.5%. Call it whatever you want. We're going to get that 1.5%.
The SPL over the years has been able to attract some of the world's biggest stars. Neymar, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, N'Golo Kante, and recently Ivan Toney are just a small group of stars that have committed to the Saudi project. However, the big question is this purely down to money? For the past 5 years, the Saudi Football League has evolved into a powerhouse, attracting international talent and creating a new hub for sport in the Middle East. With the backing of the Vision 2030, football has become a symbol of national pride, unity and ambition. But football is not the only sport that has grown in the Middle East over the last couple of years. Boxing, golf and Formula 1 have all become a centrepiece of the country's continued efforts to establish itself as the global hub of international sporting events and tourism, showcasing its capacity to host world-class competitions and attract top talents. So who is really behind this movement? Who is really pushing the sports and entertainment in Saudi Arabia? He goes by the name of Turk al-Sheikh, or as I like to say, Turk al-Sheikh.
Would you say this is already the best Riyadh season?
Each year we said this things, and I hope then this year 24 go bigger and bigger with the support of His Majesty, God bless him, King Salman, and Royal Highness, our leader, the Crown Prince, Prince Mohammed bin Salman and his vision.
Indeed. Was this the dream? Boxing, music, concerts, sports, food. Was this the dream of Riyadh season?
Yeah, and we will go more and more inshallah.
بس أهم شيء يكون شغف عند المسؤول، إنه المسؤول لما يتعين في منصب معين تكون القضية هذه قضيته الشخصية، الباشن حقه. فمثلا لو أضرب مثال مثلا في الأمير عبد العزيز بن تركي الفيصل، صح إنه تهم الرياضة، صح إنه كفؤ لهالمنصب، لكن قضية الرياضة قضيته الشخصية. شيء بيرسونال بالنسبة
شغوف في الرياضة
بالنسبة له. فالباشن هو أكبر دافع للمسؤول إنه يتحرك بأكبر قدر ممكن. إذا كان هناك مسؤول بدون باشن للعمل هو يقوم فيه، من الصعب جدا أن ينجز أهداف وتطلعات كبيرة جدا.
Turk Al-Sheikh is a prominent Saudi Arabian government official, sports administrator and entertainment authority. He serves as the chairman of the General Authority for Entertainment in Saudi Arabia, a role that puts him at the forefront of transforming the country's entertainment and tourism sectors in line with Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia's ambitious plan to diversify its economy away from oil. He has also been involved in sports, particularly as a former chairman of the General Sports Authority, now Saudi Arabian Ministry of Sport. Turki Al-Sheikh played a major role in promoting and developing sports, such as football within Saudi Arabia. He is known for his ownership stakes in football clubs outside the country, including Spain's Almeria. In his entertainment role, Al-Sheikh has been instrumental in bringing a wide range of high-profile events to Saudi Arabia, including international concerts, wrestling matches like WWE, and cultural festivals. Under his leadership, events such as Riyadh season and Jeddah season has gained popularity, turning Saudi Arabia into a significant entertainment destination in the region. Turki Al-Sheikh influence is felt widely across entertainment, culture and sports as he continues to support initiatives that enhance the cultural vibrance of Saudi Arabia and improve its global standing in the entertainment industry. While all of this paints a broad picture of Saudi Arabia, the real magic comes in personal experience. Having luckily travelled to the country twice, I have a bit of a personal experience, a bit of a taste that I'll happily be able to explain to you guys of the country. So, I've actually been to Saudi Arabia twice. I went in 2012 and I went in 2019. So, the first time I went in 2012, I was quite young. I was actually 12 years old. So, listen, I've got goldfish memories, so there's not a lot I remember there. I was actually there for a whole month from August 2012, and I actually managed to do Ramadan over there, and I managed to experience life over there. And from 2012, obviously, I was still young, but I instantly fell in love with the country. I fell in love with the culture. It was completely different to where we live now in England. You know, obviously, you're closer to your religion, and it feels like home away from home. But my experience in 2012 is there's not much I can gain from that because, like I said, I was a lot younger. A lot of the things you can do is a bit limited to what you're doing. But in terms of sports, I don't think there was that big of a influence in sports in Saudi Arabia that I can remember in 2012. I don't remember it being plastered everywhere. I don't remember it being everywhere in terms of the Saudi League. I don't remember much from there. I remember Al Ahly was the common team in Jeddah for certain individuals to support, but I don't remember it being like a forefront of people's mind of Premier League and sports, and you know, I don't remember it then. But when I visited the country 7 years later in 2019, then I experienced the whole influence of sports and just the whole country being obsessed with it. And that's when I realized that the impact of not only the Premier League but other sports, maybe if it's basketball and boxing, and it also, people can have the exact same amount of passion that we have in England over there. So when I went in 2019, the funny thing is, as we was driving around the country, the many things that we saw around plastered everywhere on billboards and signs was 2030, 2030, 2030. And I always got confused. What is 2030 like? It's 2019. What's going to happen in 11 years? What's happening? What's this big thing that we're advertising? And you know, when you're in the moment at looking at things, you always look at it and think, am I going to be alive to see this? Or is this going to be one of the things that they plaster or flying cars? But as the years went on, you started to see the development and the upcoming projects that started to come. So in 2019, I went to the Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz fight in Riyadh. So this was part of the whole Riyadh season, and I think this is one of the first couple of years it was kind of pushed out, Riyadh season and Jeddah season. So as I went to the event, I didn't have high expectations. I didn't have, like I said, the expectation of it to be a great event, because for me, sporting events is all about the atmosphere. And I thought, can they replicate an atmosphere from maybe England, Wembley, or from different arenas that boxing has been done. Bear in mind, has been my first boxing event, but I understand boxing is big because obviously the atmosphere, the crowd, and it's all into it, with all different sports, of course. But as I went to the event, we flew over because I was staying in Jeddah, we flew over to Riyadh. And as we went over there, obviously this is the first time I visited the country. The country is beautiful. It was raining, funnily enough. It was December 2019. And as we went to the event, there was a park, like, I don't know what's it, maybe like a amusement park, theme park, before you get to the arena. That theme park had different things where it had a concert, I think, the day before. It had other events. It had I think there was a Travis Scott concert the day before. So there was many other things that happened in the arena. So it wasn't only the boxing. So they set up a whole events, theme park, kind of like weekend, kind of like concert thing going on throughout that weekend. And then obviously the day of the fight was on Saturday. So as we went to the arena was amazing. It was huge. It was, one of the biggest arenas I've ever seen. And like I'm saying, my expectation going into it, again, maybe a bit narrow-minded. I didn't expect it to be amazing. I expected it to be a bit, the crowd to be a bit dull. I expected it to be not enthralling. But as we got into the arena, the atmosphere you can hear from outside the arena. So it built up from the time we got in. So once we got into the arena, it was probably top 3, top 4 loudest arenas I've been in terms of just atmosphere. Like, there was an atmosphere, there was fans from around the world, it was completely opposite to what I expected. And why am I explaining that is because I feel as though the influence I got from maybe the media and, different perceptions and stuff is events like football and boxing, and even now the golf has gone over there, the Formula 1. People think, it's the events are only there because of the money. It's only because of the fact they can pay this amount to facilitate arenas and stuff. But when you actually go to these events, you actually feel like where you're in the best place, because first of all, the weather's amazing. That's the best thing about it. The weather's always amazing. Funnily enough, it was raining that day, but in general, the weather is amazing. But the biggest thing for me is the atmosphere, the crowd, the people love the sport, maybe more than some of us, like the passion they have. And that's, I think, the biggest problem that people have. I think it's the perception that, they're taking it away from us, and why are they taking it? The only reason they're taking it because of the money and stuff. But for me, that day I went to Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz fight, made me realize, wow. Once we finished the boxing and once we finished the whole fight, the seats were amazing, was up in the skies, watching that fight. We left the arena, and then they had many different things going on in there, different events. I think there was a concert, but we had a flight to get back to, so we couldn't catch a couple of things. But just the whole organization, the whole effort that's been put into each event, and this was in 2019. So this was almost, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. That was at the start of this whole season periods and seasonal periods. And I remember a couple of people that I know over there, I got family over there, and the way they talk about how it started to how it's going to now. Now you've seen Turki Al-Sheikh talk about the vision, the plan, where we want to get to. From 2030, we want to get to 2030, and then from 2040, we will be up with the elite. They are really trying to push this to be the future of sports, the future of entertainment. And I understand, there are going to be people that, don't like this, don't like the fact that this is happening from both sides of the river. I think people in Saudi residents or Saudi nationals might think, I'm not really, this is too much now, we're becoming too modernized, and there's that argument. But then also you got people from this side of the pond that think, why are they stealing all our sports? I know they recently had a fight, Anthony Joshua versus Dana Dubois. It was in Wembley. A big reason for that is it was plastered everywhere, Riyadh season, and the expectation was for that fight to be in Saudi. But I think Turki Al-Sheikh did mention that, listen, we're not stealing the sport away from you. We're just giving it a platform. We're giving it, we've brought it back to life, because people have mentioned that Turki Al-Sheikh has revived the boxing sport. For me, I'm not a massive boxing fan. I only went to that fight for an opportunity. I felt like it was an opportunity to just go see my first live event, but I'm not a diehard boxing fan. But many people that I know that are diehard boxing fans have mentioned that the sport was on a decline. So people do mention that Turki Al-Sheikh did bring it up. So my personal thing is, I've experienced the country. I've seen the vision. I understand the vision. I kind of like buy into the vision. I'm excited to see what's to come. there's certain things maybe I don't want to happen in terms of, you know, I've heard conversations of Premier League games going over there, and, you know, obviously they've got the upcoming World Cup. I think that's in 2034. So there are certain things that I am a for and I'm against. Obviously, because you have to understand it's the travel, and, you know, sometimes it is cross country. But in terms of different sports, like I've seen the golf go over there as well. In terms of them things, I'm all for it. I'm a big advocate for the SPL, the Saudi Pro League. I love what they're doing over there. I love the transfers. I hate the fact that there's a sense of, like I mentioned at the start of it, there's a sense of entitlement with especially Premier League fans. You've seen it from pundits and, you know, big media organisations in England have been kind of like hating on the idea of why are you coming into the Premier League buying our players, when that's kind of hypocritical, when many Premier League teams, the top 6, go everywhere and pinch everyone. You know, now you're seeing Chelsea, you know, you're seeing Man City, Arsenal go into the Brazilian league and taking their best talent. You know, and I wonder what the Brazilian nationals, their opinion on that is. You know, Chelsea, I don't know how to pronounce the lad's name, Estavio, whatever his name is. They've pinched him. No one's saying anything about that. People are saying, congratulations, Chelsea, you've got a wonder kid on your hands. So we do the same thing around the world. We take players, but we can't complain. So when someone comes to Premier League and wants to buy Bernardo Silva, wants to buy De Bruyne, Edison, wants to buy these players from around the world, wants to spend 4,400k a week on Ivan Toney's contract, why are we going to complain? We have to be happy for these players that they've secured financial freedom and the fact that there's a new market. So I'm all for it. I love it. I love the new the opportunities that is going to arise for the Premier League in terms of, like I'm saying, the new market. But I think I'm more upset at the outcry from the Premier League pundits and the media. Now, Saudi Arabia is set to host one of the world's greatest sporting events, the 2034 FIFA World Cup. But this won't be any World Cup, it will be hosted across the ultra-modern city of Neom, a symbol of Saudi Arabia's bold vision for the future. The 2034 World Cup will be a celebration of more than just football. It will showcase Saudi Arabia's vision for the 21st century, open to the world, connected to its heritage and driven by innovation. Saudi Arabia is writing a new chapter where football is the bridge between tradition and vision. And in 2030, the world will witness the vision come to life in the greatest stage of them all. Through the Saudi Football League, the World Cup and the building of Neom, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's vision of 2030 is not just transforming Saudi Arabia, it's redefining the future of global sports and entertainment.
توني يا توني توني ايفون يا توني توني يا توني ايفون يا توني توني يا توني ايفون يا توني ايفون يا توني توني